Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, how are you? Welcome to my channel. My name is Cheer Denise. Today is Friday, so of course that's the Friday News Roundup, and we have so much to talk about today. There is fresh drama with the whole Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds story, but I'm less interested in their part of the story and more interested in the meltdown that is happening over with Colleen Hoover, and I've been waiting for this to happen. You guys, I have held my tongue on Colleen Hoover low these many months, but I've wanted to talk about her for so long, and today we have some real stuff to discuss. What is happening with her? The lady is melting down, and this comes as exactly zero shock to me, but we got to talk about it. And then, of course, Blake and Ryan have been sort of in the news, but not in a way that I feel like is worthy of a ton of our time. But we are going to talk about why they're cropping up again. Everyone is talking about it, but nobody has anything real meaty to say. So I have no news there either specifically, but we will sort of rush over why they've been in the news on our way to talking about Colleen Hoover. Meghan's show came out. Many of you were with me and sat with me and held my hand as I went through episode by episode of that boring ass show. And I'm done talking about the show, but there's a couple of things that have cropped up that I want to talk about. Meghan related. Don't worry if you're not a fan of Meghan. If you're like, God almighty, stop. You can just fast forward through that. It's not going to be a long segment. The Baldwins are continuing to struggle in a huge way. I am talking about, what are you doing, Alec? Why are you with this woman? It's like everyone, for a long time, people have known that she was out to lunch at 7 different restaurants at once. I mean, she's got multiple personalities all over town. So she's always been kind of a question mark as far as what's your deal, lady? Why are you pretending to be from Spain? Why are you speaking with that accent? We all know you're from Boston. But she's got way deeper problems, and they have way deeper problems in the fact that she wants to make herself more exciting with an exotic accent. So we got to cover that. Interestingly, they are very aware of what people are saying about them. Specifically, she's very aware about what people are saying about her. So she's already clapped back to everybody's astonishment at the way she treats him. And so I'm so glad that we have that to talk about as well today, because I know all of you guys have seen the viral video of her being like, stop talking when I'm talking, So we obviously have to talk about that, but the clapback was so problematic to me. So lots to discuss there. Kanye West, I don't think we've done a Friday News Roundup without this clown, but the things that he is doing now, the tweets that he is putting out there, and you guys, they're not okay. I can't lie to you. I laughed pretty hard. Not because I side with what he's saying, but because it's so insane. He is out here tweeting the most ridiculously vile, confused, screaming for help tweets we've ever seen. Somebody needs to help him. His mental health is teetering on the brink. I mean, in my mind, he's already fallen over. He is free falling, and, everyone's just letting him do it. We also have to talk about this new show that's coming on TLC. I know, it's trash TV. I'm sorry. I have a love in my heart for trash TV. I cannot deny it, and I will not deny it. And this show right here is something that I would tune into every single episode. It's called Polyfamily. You'll recall that back in the day, TLC is, aired Sister Wives. And way back, was it 50 years ago when that show first came on? Way back when that show first came on, it was oh, this is strange. This is a way to live. One man, 4 wives. Wow, groundbreaking TV. And for a society that's always families come in all different shapes and sizes, this was sort of attesting the social boundaries of, yeah, well, you say that, but what do you think about a man with 4 wives? And the beginning of that show was Denial City. I mean, he was the mayor and they were his 4 councilmen, because they were just we're happy. This is great. We don't have any problems. And the whole time you're sitting there going the bleep, you don't have any problem. What are you talking about? This man bed hops and you get him one night a week, and you got 1,000 kids of his, and he zooms up to your house in a little sports car, pokes his head in, eats some supper, and then goes on to the next lady. What are you talking about? You don't have any problems. Yes, you do. And of course it's all imploded, and exactly what we all knew would happen in that family has happened, but it took them forever to realize. This show is not even going to waste its time in pretending that they are happy people in this union. Because just in the promo alone, I mean, this is first season, so we're not having to get 15 seasons in before people are like, you know what, this kind of sucks. We have 2 men and 2 wives. 2 of them are officially married, but they're all like sleeping together. They are raising a family. One of the women is pregnant. She doesn't know who the daddy is. And the men hate each other. Like, they wouldn't even be friends in real life, they say. I mean, you guys, I can't wait. It just blows Sister Wives out of the water. And I used to love that show. And this is like a fresh batch of what the hell. We have problems in our society. Then we have a couple of other tidbits. Rachel Ray's showing back up. I did not recognize her. You guys, I did not recognize Rachel Ray. We have Jessica Alba at Paris Fashion Week. I neglected to do a whole thing on Paris Fashion Week, and I probably won't go back and do it just because, like, we all know that the clothes are crazy. But I had not anticipated Jessica Alba's weirdness. And I don't know why I didn't, because she's always been high on her own supply. But boy, does she really bring it in some crazy ways in this particular clip I have to show you. I cannot even, I think I can show it to you, but I'm not really sure. I don't know what YouTube's going to do if I show this to you. She had some weird details on her outfit. Also, the astronauts were rescued this week without getting into the political side of things because people seem to have big feelings about Elon Musk. I'm not going to talk about that. I want to talk about the woman astronaut who came back and questions that people had about her. And I'm like, what is happening? What I don't understand the why in the scenario here. So we need to talk about her. And then finally, I feel like I've just become this bitter old crone that talks about nothing but what I hate. And I saw something this week that I loved. I just thought I'd bring us a nice little moment to warm all our hearts before we go on with our weekend. So that's at the very end, but let's get into the big stories of today, and then we'll talk about all those little juicy tidbitty things at the end. A couple that has been in the news to a marked degree this week are the Baldwins. Everyone is talking about them and their show, but particularly because we saw them on the red carpet this week, and she is just being, quite frankly, a raging bitch to him. In this clip that I'm going to show you, and I am sure you've seen it, but we're going to discuss it, they are being interviewed about their show. They're discussing if the show's going to be picked up for a second season. And he says, well, if it is, it'll be the Hilaria show. And she and he are talking about it, and she just cannot deal with sharing the spotlight with him. And she literally puts her hand up when he's talking and saying, I'm talking. When I'm talking, you're not talking. When I'm talking, you're not talking. Watch how horrible she is to him.
The Hilaria show.
No. I think we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it feels to have it be out there.
It's gonna be great.
You're
a winner.
Oh my God! When I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show. No.
Now, I know that Alec Baldwin is a person of mixed character. Obviously, we know he is a rageaholic. We saw him lose his mind on his daughter Ireland so many years ago when she didn't answer her phone or something like that, and he just lit into her with so much vehemence. Everyone was like, whoa, that guy's got some real problems. Then he killed someone, and it was like, okay, suspicions confirmed, this guy's out of control. But in this environment with his wife, you just have to, like, one human to another go, man, it sucks. I'm sorry. Like, the dynamic you have with your wife is not okay. Do you know that?
Oh my God, you're distracting me right now.
Sorry.
Like, now you're just doing that. Why? Why are you distracting me?
I'm just captivated by your beauty.
you're just distracting me.
So
no, but
beautiful.
oh my God, stop! You're annoying me. Stop! It's not cute. No, he's distracting me. So I'm gonna walk out of this interview.
Listen, I need the motherhood notes. You are doing amazing.
No, okay, go back. Let me go back.
It's not just this playful, fun banter. You know, some couples have that. I feel like a great example of a couple that has banter, but it like also really respects each other and you know it, would be Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell. They have a deep love and respect for each other, and also they're very playful with each other. That is not what is happening here. This is not a playful banter, though Alec and Hilaria are really trying to push to you this idea that they are this couple that is just so, like, truly in love. They just have this crazy life, but, like, it's just amazing. They were asked, is it harder to be on scripted TV or is it harder to be yourself? And really the question is to him, because she's not an actress as far as I know. She's a yoga instructor. I don't know. And he says, no, it's harder to be yourself. And the interviewer asks, why would you say that? And he says, well, the thing is that you could get the concept of what it is to be in our family within an hour of watching us. I mean, it's not really enough material to make a whole show. It's pretty obvious what it's like at her house very quickly. So you always run the risk of being sillier than you really are, more outrageous than you really are, sort of playing up your idiosyncrasies to give the camera something. And she immediately is like, well, way too much honesty here. And she's like, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. So she starts getting in panic mode, wanting to shut down the truth of what he just said.
I think you make it more silly than it is. I actually feel.
I didn't get that on the show.
No, we just cut all that part out.
Cut me out.
Cut you out when you're trying to make it silly.
Because that is so true. That's exactly what would happen if you were in a reality TV show and you knew that this is the way you're going to put bread on the table for those 7 kids. You'd play up every weird aspect of your family because you know what the camera needs. You're an actor and you've done it for decades. You know, Hilaria coming in and, you know, asking, what is the word for this? Is a cucumber? Like, that's just not enough for a whole show. And so immediately she gets upset and like his presence just totally flusters her. She keeps saying, you know, we just got to cut him out. He's just crazy. He never tells the truth anyway. Like, don't listen to him. Like, everything he says is always like not even true. If it's not something you read in a history book, don't believe it.
The two of them. They have their own
Can
show.
I tell you, from now on, unless it's history, don't take anything that this guy is going to say because he just invents it on the spot. It's all like.
You do realize that he is and was in tons of hot water over shooting someone. Maybe this isn't the time to reveal that even you don't believe him. Anyway, the two of them, there's just so many clips of her just totally showing disdain. There's a clip from their show where she says, I just do what I want and I don't tell you about it.
Agree that that's your reality of it. But what I used to do is I would say yes, and then I would do whatever I wanted, and I would just keep it from you.
What? You know, and there's just, I mean, we already saw in last week's episode where she brings home 4 cats and he clearly said, I'm allergic. And it's just like, well, that's too bad for you. And the clip is crazy because, you know, even the cameraman, shady cameraman, is like zooming in on her face as he's telling the story. And she has the slyest, slickest, most evil look as he's telling the story about his deathly allergy to cats.
And I had to go to the hospital and get a shot of epinephrine from the doctors there. And I said to my wife, I said, we can't have cats ever.
And she's like, who would do this? So the thing is that, you know, he's got the 7 kids with this lady. You have to ask, what were you thinking? I believe in the blessing that are children, but I also think that it is unfair to continually be trying to bear these children into the world when your marriage is so clearly a nightmare in hell. There's no way that this man is happy. Better that he go live out on a corner of the roof than to live in a house with this woman, because she is so degrading. Well, obviously, she's had her eyes on what everybody has to say about her. She's watching everything we're watching. She's reading all the comments, and she wants to clap back. But she always wants to do it in this way where she's just like, everything is like such a joke to her. Everything is just so funny and hilarious. And like, she thinks that she can manipulate what your impression of the scenario was by laughing her way through the clapback. So we get this super weird, very scripted conversation where the two of them are lying in bed. She's got her boobs all out. He's got the sheet pulled up. And they're doing this like little bit that they've obviously constructed, where they are lip syncing the actual conversation that they had on the red carpet. So they're playing it and she's saying her parts and he's saying his parts. And then they have this other weird exchange where they talk about man erupting. That's what he did. Man erupted her. And then they have this other little pun that he's clearly been told to say, and he's not getting the words out the way she wants. And so she's like, come on, say it, say it. Very weird. And then in the middle of this super clunky little social media post they're trying to put on, where they're doing this stupid lip syncing thing, and then she's got her like little scripted comeback that she's tried to construct with him, but he can't get it out. They've got one of their multiple kids banging on the door and interrupting their whole little setup, and it's just so scattered and chaotic. And it's just like, just don't answer all those people that are saying all that stuff about you.
Be great.
This
You're a
season-
winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why, yes, we'll have to like just cut him out of the show. And that is called, what's the word of the day?
Man-interrupting.
Interrupting, which could be a positive, it could be a negative, or it could be a...
Correctile dysfunction.
Yes, erectile dysfunction. I think that's one of our children trying to get into their room. But you know, the whole point is, because our children are about to come in, the whole point is that we interrupt each other all the time. Or sometimes our kids interrupt us. I mean, Carmen wants you. Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, go get Carmen.
Okay, so now that we cleared all of that up, wait, I cleared it up. Give me a kiss just so they know that I'm not...
Yeah, I get that it would be super embarrassing if you had this exchange on the red carpet. She clearly thought she was being cute, but of course the rest of the world's like, not cute. You're being mean and rude and bitchy and a horrible wife. Even if this guy is the worst, like, you married him, you chose him, you're still in a relationship with him. This isn't the way you choose to, or you should choose, to interact with who you call your beloved partner. But the fact that she even wanted to respond to this was such a mistake. But then the fact that this is what she came up with and then decided to post it. That's what's crazy. Like, I can imagine wanting to answer the critics. But that if this is all like a couple together because, one, we couldn't get it together, me and my spouse, we couldn't quite like pull off what it was I was trying to do. And then I got a kid banging on the door being like, Mom, 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 we need you, we need you, we need you. It's like, okay, why don't you guys just tend to the brood you have and worry about y'all's marriage instead of trying to be on this reality TV show that clearly is not going to make anybody in the family look any better. She's looking crazier than we ever knew her to be. And poor beatdown guy, I mean, he's never going to get any work again. But the fact that he has been reduced to this is painful. I said last time I discussed that it's very obvious he's wondering why this is the life he chose. It's very obvious he wishes, he's even said multiple times, although he continues to try to counteract the words coming out of his mouth. He said multiple times, I kind of wonder why I have all these kids. You know, and multiple times it's, I would have run off to London to hide. I wish I was out on a yacht. I wish this, that. I mean, of course, they're the ones that saved me if it weren't for them. You know, so he's like slips back in his pre-programmed talking points that Hilaria has obviously told him to say. But it's very clear that he's unhappy. And of course, on X, I can't even remember his last name. Y'all know Link? He's so funny. And he was saying that he used to live near, around, or in the same block, whatever, as the Baldwins. And that he used to see Alec many nights sitting down in a restaurant down the street from their apartment, watching videos on his phone and drinking late into the night, clearly waiting for the kids to go to bed, avoiding his wife, just avoiding the life he had created, waiting for the chaos to die down so he could slip in unnoticed. And unfortunately, because of his financial situation, he not only can't avoid his life anymore, he has to be actively part of his life in order to make a couple of bucks now. He seems so vastly unhappy. And with the weight of all that had happened to him because of the accident on set, and now being forced to really live in the life he's created with Hilaria, and also have cameras in, and all those cameras are going to heighten every single negative interaction he has with his wife. It's just, he can't even avoid his real life anymore. His real life now truly is his life. It's how he's making his living. Before, he could run away on set. He could run away down the street, drink and watch videos on his phone and just kind of zone out and take that phone Xanax. And now, unfortunately, he's got to be in it, and it's super negative. So if he could have ignored all the negativity all those years, I'm going to go hide out on set. I'm going to go hide out down the street on my phone. Now he cannot ignore the fact that his marriage is terrible and that everyone is asking, what are you doing in this relationship? And now what is he going to do? Leave all those little kids? What's he going to do? You know, they need some serious therapy. And, you know, honestly, marriage is hard. We all need therapy, you know, but they should never have agreed to start to do this show. They should have been like, I'll go drive Uber and you go get a job at Panera. Like anything other than bringing cameras into a really volatile situation. For them, at this really crucial time in their marriage, in their life, in the lives of their kids, to then invite cameras in to exploit every foolish moment. What were they thinking? He clearly had no say in this. This is what she wanted. She's always wanted to be famous. She's always wanted to put herself out there, and she's always wanted attention. And this was a prime opportunity. And she probably told him, "You've destroyed us because of the accident you had on set. Now we have to all take the hit." But secretly in her heart, she was thrilled by the fact that she gets to have her own reality TV show. But she twisted him into it by saying, "Well, because of what you did, now we have to." While secretly loving every minute of it. Okay, that's enough of them. We need to talk about Kanye West. That guy has continually shown up on our program because of the crazy things he does. And you guys, the tweets that he's been sending have obviously been crazy for a long time, but he is specifically going after Jay-Z. And he tried to delete these messages because somehow he doesn't seem to remember that the internet is forever. But he deleted these texts, but just listen to the crazy. I don't care if you don't like Jay-Z and you don't like Beyonce and you think that Beyonce has been pushed to great heights beyond her talent and you have huge questions about what in the world the little youngster is wearing to all the events. Why is Blue Ivy looking the way she is? You can have all those questions. I have those questions. But you don't get on X and say this stuff about people's families. He said, "Wait. Has anyone ever seen Jay-Z and Beyonce's younger kids? They're retarded. No, like literally. And this is why artificial insemination is such a blessing. Having retarded children is a choice." What are you talking about? And then later he tries to take that down and then he posts again later. He's all angry at Kim. He's always angry at Kim. He says in this sort of oblique stab at her that at least Jay-Z and Beyonce are allowed to raise their crazy ass retarded children. Are you for real right now? Like, I understand, Kanye, that you're angry that your life hasn't turned out the way you wanted, but have you ever heard of owning the choices that you make? You say that everyone's burned you. Where exactly is the common denominator here? He has this entire list of people who he says have wronged him. It's like, why are you always the victim then? If you were this powerful person who has the biggest thoughts that anyone has ever thought and that, but for you, the world would be crumbling disaster, why don't you use some of that superpower of great thought and figure out that you can't seem to have a relationship with anyone and possibly it's a you problem? How can you go around calling people's kids retarded and then being like, "I just can't seem to get a break around here"? You don't want to be part of polite society. You want to be able to run your mouth however you want. But when somebody else is like, "Wow, Kanye's a nut job," then suddenly you lose it and you're like, "I've always been mistreated by everyone. It's just because they're jealous of me and my talents and all the things I got going on and I just can't understand why nobody loves me." It's like, you are not a lovable person. Start with yourself. If you want people to love you and treat you with respect, why don't you try that at home? Maybe start with letting your wife put some clothes on. How about a little of that respect? Then maybe you can branch out and try treating other people with dignity, not getting on X and calling out all these people, not being a ragey anti-Semite, not saying all this crazy stuff about other people's kids. Maybe leave people's kids out of it. Meanwhile, he's trying to let the world think and believe that his wife, Kim Kardashian, is trafficking the kids. He's out there saying this. And now she's trying to get full custody of the kids because they can't go over there anymore. Meanwhile, he had his little daughter Northwest at the house, and who does he invite over but the Tate brothers? Andrew and his crazy brother Tristan over to the house where he's got his daughter. Those people are insane. So, of course, Kim, in a moment of blinding reality, says, "Hey, the kids are coming home," and she makes sure that Northwest gets home before the Tate brothers show up on the doorstep to, set up a video cam. I think that Kanye is crazy, and I don't understand why somebody has not put a restraining order on this insane man. And the fact that Kim does not already have full custody of these kids is unbelievable. So I feel like 100% certain that the judge is just going to be like, "You don't even have to come to court, just you get the kids." He has shown who he is, and I'm sorry that he's having these mental meltdowns, but enough already of this joker. He needs to be taken in hand. He's a danger to himself, to his kids, to society. Get this person under control. And, it's a complicated situation because he's a grown adult, So, if he doesn't want to get help, he doesn't want to get help. But nobody takes him seriously anymore. And it's really unfortunate because I think there was a time when he was taken seriously and people did like him. But boy, he sure ruined that when he said, "Have you seen the younger kids? They're retarded." No, literally. He has major, major issues. And until he can finally look in the mirror and be like, "Wow, you know what? Every single person I encounter in the world can't be the problem." there must be something that is not okay with me. He won't ever turn a corner, but I don't know if he mentally can turn a corner. All right, speaking about people who are having a real hard time of it, Colleen Hoover is someone I've wanted to talk about for a really long time, especially since this whole "it ends with us" thing has come to the forefront. But I've been so distracted talking about Blake and Ryan and Justin that Colleen has never had her day in the sun. Well, today is the day. Specifically because she put herself there with some wacko videos that she posted on Instagram. But I just want to say that as a writer, I've always felt like what she has offered to her readers is just really indicative of where we are as a society, as our literacy is decaying in front of us. It doesn't surprise me that somebody of her caliber has risen to the top. Her stories are riddled with, just drama and sex and psychological elements of thriller, but it's all horribly written. And I am telling you that I cannot believe, and it's super discouraging to me, that this woman whose writing is so bad has skyrocketed over and over and over and over to the top of the New York Times bestseller list. I also don't even understand how she got there, how she even became this author that anyone paid attention to. We are not getting part of her story. There are legitimately wonderful, fantastic, brilliantly written books that never see the light of day on the New York Times bestseller list, that are actually outselling books that do get to the New York Times bestseller list and you never know about it. And it's because that whole thing is rigged. And I don't understand how somebody who explains their rise to fame as having stumbled upon this ability to self-publish books on Amazon, then suddenly found herself, having just posted a book for her family, rising to heights of fame and fortune because somebody stumbled on a self-published book on Amazon and now she's on the New York Times bestseller list. I don't buy it. I don't. These books are such trash. And let me just read just one quote from one book of hers to give you a flavor of the way this woman writes. And I won't read it to you in a dumb voice that is trying to convey to you the idea that I scored it. I don't need to. I will read this book to you as though I really, really want you to enjoy what you're hearing. And you are going to, at the end of this quote, be like, what the actual, why, how? I don't know how she's famous. Listen, this is a quote from one of her books. Remember, she is a New York Times bestseller. Okay? So after you get done with this, I guarantee you're going to have questions if you haven't already about that list. You're not even going to want to reference it anymore. Listen to the line from this book. The context is this guy is talking about the mother of his child, and he says they've just had a baby. They're bringing the baby home from the hospital. And in his voice, and I always find it super cringe when women try to write from men's voices. It's something that's very difficult to do and almost never gets pulled off. But she writes from his voice, she says, I want Rachel in the front seat with me, but I love that she's riding in the back with him, their new baby. I love how much she loves him. I love that I'm attracted to her even more now that she's a mom. I want to kiss her. I want to tell her I love her again, but I think I tell her way too much. I don't ever want her to get tired of hearing it. Thank you for this baby, she says from the back seat. He's beautiful. I laugh. You're responsible for the beautiful part, Rachel. The only thing he got from me was his balls. She laughs. She laughs hard. Oh my God, I know, she says. They're so big. We both laugh at our son's big balls. New York Times bestseller list? You guys, we are an illiterate nation. If something that stupid has managed, it just makes me want to cry. Like, literally, I want to cry. I'm not even being, like, hyperbolic. Like, it makes me so sad that we don't know what is good anymore. That something that trashy, that stupid, that paltry, that lame, that middle school creative writing class has managed to make it over and over and over on top of the New York Times bestseller list. How? I don't know. Okay, but when she wrote It Ends With Us, she got a ton of backlash because there were so many people saying, why are you romanticizing this relationship that seems like it's really messed up? And she took a hit because as that conversation was happening, she was also trying to release this coloring book that went along with It Ends With Us, and people are like, wow, monetizing DV, okay, well, domestic violence is definitely not something that you should make a coloring book about, but okay. And so then she, starts flapping her hands. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm sorry, you're right, I told the publisher to stop, we're not gonna publish it anymore, Colleen Hoover has always appeared to me to be a extremely emotionally immature woman who has believed that she is this amazing writer, because why wouldn't she believe that? She's selling books, she's making money, she's making a living off of it. But she's also selling books to people who are very young and as emotionally immature as her. So her audience isn't exactly a reflection of wisdom, grace, and understanding. And I think that this whole thing with Blake Lively has really taken her down. Now, as a reflection of this naivete that she seems to have, we see her supporting Blake at the beginning of this whole thing and really digging her heels in at first, and then being like, I wash my hands of it, I don't know, I'm not sure, when she saw that the way the wind blew and everybody was turning on Blake, then, oh no, I've sided with her. And honestly, it's like, how could you side with Blake? How could you do that to the guy who bought the rights to your book and made your stupid book into a movie? And then you want to take Blake's side. Did you ever bother to really talk to either one of them? Had Justin ever treated you in a disrespectful way that would have made Blake's words a reality for you? It's insane. Okay, well, this week we saw her post some videos to her Instagram, and everybody was just like, what is happening with Colleen? And I'm like, the norm? She just decided to actually show you how crazy she is, but she's been this crazy always. Somebody who writes a whole thing about an exchange between a new mom and dad, and he's like, oh, the beauty is from you, the balls are from me, we laughed, period, we laughed hard, period, we laughed at his big balls, period. It's like, man, she's not doing well. We didn't need her to show us a day in the life, but she did. And here's what she posted to Instagram.
Either a new rock bottom for me or the best thing that's ever come out of my brain. Look at this. I poured Diet Pepsi into my ice cubes so that I will have the best Diet Pepsi I've ever had in my life. It's gonna be a great day. Remember like 5 minutes ago when I ended the last video with "It's gonna be a great day"? Well, then I went into Cohorts, which is my Facebook group, and saw that my boss, Stephanie, put all of my merch on sale for $10 an item. That's like 5 times cheaper than what I paid for each item, which means by the end of the day today, I'm gonna be broke as shit. Thanks, Stephanie. You better be careful, because maybe TMZ was right. Maybe I am firing all my employees and retiring. Well, I can't retire now because now I'm going to be in the hole.
She appears to be very unwell in this clip. And I don't know if it's because she truly is unwell or if she's just tired or what exactly is happening, but she does not seem like she is all right. And then we see her sitting on the couch and she's sipping this, Pepsi ice situation that she's created and sort of, again, slurring her words and seeming just generally sloppy and unwell and confused and taken down by all that is happening, but still trying to act like she's above it all. And I just didn't predict that somebody who wrote such paltry fare and who interviewed so poorly and always seemed so emotionally immature was going to be able to weather the storm with the Blake Lively situation. And having called it so badly, being intimately involved with all the key players of both Blake and Justin, and still siding with Blake because that's where the drama seemed to happen for this poor victimized girl who was used and abused by Justin. For her to have been so unable to see the characters of these people when she makes a living on writing about the characters of people, and so she should have innately been able to tell where the wind blew. If you have any understanding of human nature whatsoever, if you'd been with both of those people, I think it would have been very clear who was the winner in the scenario. Even from a far distance, it's very clear to see that Blake is an operator, and Justin, though he sometimes is very sugary, is trying his best to be a genuine person. Colleen couldn't call that. And what kind of an author who makes their living writing about the characters and nuances of people could not call that in real time as she sat with the real people and had very intimate interactions with both of them? Her writing is not good because she's not a good reader of people. And that is why Colleen is having a terrible time and why she is over here now freaking out that we're all like, hey, Colleen, are you okay? You didn't seem okay in your video. And she's trying to call us crazy and kind of, gaslight the rest of us. Oh, is that so wild that someone enjoys ice cubes? Is that so crazy that I would enjoy, Diet Pepsi? Stop trying to make something that isn't there. No, you didn't seem well in the video. You're not moving well. You're acting slow. You seem like you're moving in molasses. You don't seem like you are completely sober. And don't try to call us crazy. Don't try to come back around and be like, you guys are crazy for thinking that everyone acts like this. No, they don't, Colleen. They don't. As long as we are on the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds thing, the news about them this week is that both of them are trying to get the case against them dismissed. They have both filed motions to dismiss the lawsuit against them, saying that they just want to wash their hands of it. It's not a thing. He doesn't need to be suing them. And I don't even think that makes any sense to me. But the real reason that they are getting so panicky is because now the next step in this lawsuit is discovery. And of course, that's going to be a whole thing. They're going to have to go through all the texts and all the emails. They're going to be deposing people, and their friends that they have mentioned, the Taylor Swifts of the world in their life, are now going to have to be involved and deposed in this whole scenario. And so they're panicking, trying to have the judge dismiss this, and it doesn't look like he's going to do it. The other thing is Ryan's company is about to go public, so he doesn't need all this negative publicity while his company goes public. So, of course, it's all very self-serving. They can't let their friends get deposed. They can't let their private emails be looked at, even though they were complete and total innocents in all of this, and they've been victimized excruciatingly by Justin, and all their emails should be completely fine. No. Discovery is terrifying them, and they're really afraid about what it's going to do to their relationships if they have their friends deposed, Should have thought about that before when you started telling vicious lies. Some other people this week who have gotten in trouble for what people assume to be vicious lies is Meghan Markle, obviously. It was St. Patrick's Day this week. Meghan decided to make waffles for her family. And while the waffles looked 10 shades of disgusting, I don't really care. I was never even going to mention anything about it. Because I don't care if Meghan wants to make holiday-themed food for her kids. Of course she was going to. She made a whole video about strawberry bagels at Valentine's Day. And now, of course, it's St. Patrick's Day, so she's going to make a green waffle because she thinks that's what the moms do. The waffle reminded me of the Screaming, and I don't understand why we put the kiwi on the face of the waffle so that it looks like it's screaming into the abyss. But that was her choice, whatever. Everyone is saying that she's a big fraud and that she bought these waffles and that there's some kind of like St. Patrick's Day Eggo waffle or something. Because she poured the waffles into a divided waffle maker, but look, this waffle's not divided. It's like, do you guys not have anything better to do with your time than to study everything that she does? Like, don't care. But that was the big drama this week because people are like, she's a liar. She always has been. Look at the waffle she made for her kids. I bet that's a store-bought waffle. Who gives a flip? I'm just offended by the fact that it's a really scary looking breakfast. But the thing that I saw this week that was way more problematic for me, and the picture that really raised more questions for me than what waffle maker she used, who gives a damn, was she posted this picture of her in her garden, clearly very posed picture of her having picked onions. She's in her sun hat, and there she is in her bare feet, again, doing this weird pose that she has been seen to do multiple times lately, where she sticks one foot out. Now, we know that she had this bunion surgery done on her feet. We've pictures of her feet where it's clear, I can still see the scar where she had a surgery on her feet because she had heard a lot of people make negative comments about her feet. I don't know if she now is just trying to show everybody my feet are better now. I need to know why she keeps putting her feet into the forefront of life. Is there something going on with her feet? Is there some undercurrent, some dark corner of the internet that is interested in her feet and she knows about it? The amount of times her feet were featured in her show, in her pictures, in her life, I don't understand either her obsession or what she assumes to be some secret obsession with her feet. But to take this weird pose 2 times where your feet are clearly the focal point her face is hidden in both. What is happening? Is there a secret demand for Meghan Markle's feet that I don't know about? Is there a secret dark corner of the internet where this is something that people want to see? Is there a sickness that severe on this planet that people are rabidly looking for pictures of her feet? Or is she just trying to let everybody know I don't have bunions anymore? I don't get it. But there's something about her feet. There's some story about her feet that I'm not getting. I don't know about this story with her feet, but she clearly wants us to notice them because she's willing to hide her face in pursuit of your eyes on her feet. What's the story? You guys know something? Tell me. For the final little tidbits for today, like I said in the opening, you guys, we've got to talk about that TLC show, Polyfamily. It's not on yet, but it's been previewed. Watch the preview. What is this?
Taya's my wife and Alicia's my girlfriend.
And vice versa. Alicia's my wife and Taya's my girlfriend.
And I had 2 children before we met, Sean and Taya. Since we've all been together, we've had 2 more children, and we have 1 more on the way.
Say,
Who's the father?
Me?
both of us? All right.
Since the guys switch rooms every night, we don't know who the fathers of the younger boys are.
I can assure you it is one of 2 people.
Of course, we wonder sometimes, but finding out could cause a lot of hurt. Well,
We live together. We have mutual partners, and we parent together. But if we weren't in this situation, we probably wouldn't be friends.
I don't feel like we're the same people we were at the beginning.
Yeah, but do you want to work on it or not?
I
feel like I have a connection with someone else.
what does that mean? The quad we have now is the most important thing to me, and I don't want to screw that up by not thinking things through. It's complicated to bring someone else in. We're not closed anymore at that point. We're just not.
I don't know where we go from here.
What world, what universe would you think that having 4 people as the head of this household, whose children you don't even know who belongs to who, and the members of this little group don't even like each other, how was this supposed to be a success? I am living for the fact that these couch interviews seem like they are juicy, real, and people are spilling the tea on each other immediately. I'm not here for 10 seasons of a show where everyone's lying to each other and to themselves about how happy they are, only to find out, oh, damn, I hate my life. These people seem to know it from the get-go. And I am all about it. And I'm asking you guys right now, would we want to talk about this show on this channel? I would deeply love to, but I also know that some of us are more mature than I am when it comes to junk TV, and you would rather not. So if it's not something you want to talk about, I understand, but all I can say is that show looks crazy, and the part of me that loves junk TV can't wait. Somebody that we saw this week that I haven't seen in a long time, and honestly was taken aback a bit, was Rachel Ray. She was doing this sort of cooking expo at what appears to be like a community center. A good friend of hers from her past had invited her to do this cooking expo and she felt she could not say no, so she did. And it was interesting.
Success! This is a community center, and these are people that support their kids and their neighbors, and it's like one big family. And a girl I've known since I was a child invited me. I mean, it would be rude to say I'm too busy.
I think it's great that Rachel was willing to give back to this community and to share her cooking with this community. And it looked like they had a good turnout for an event like this. But am I the only one that hasn't seen Rachel in a while and was sort of surprised? It just took me a minute to sort of place who she was. Where's she been? What happened to Rachel Ray? Where did she go? I feel like there was a time when she was everywhere and then suddenly she disappeared. Was it a health-related thing or what? But now I've seen this, and now I've seen a few other things of her since, and I guess I'm just wondering, is Rachel Ray coming back? And if she is, are we going to find out what happened in the interim? I don't know. And have I just not been paying attention? Has she always been around and I just wasn't paying attention and now I'm sort of surprised to see her? I don't know. Somebody else who just showed back up on the scene is the astronaut who was left in space. And you guys, I have big questions as to what everyone's issue is here. So, as you know, there were astronauts who were left in space, and I don't even understand the story. Now, I probably should have done my due diligence to know every little ounce about the story before I wanted to talk to you guys about it, but there was just really one particular element that caught my attention. So the astronauts were stuck back in space. Elon Musk got them, rescued them, brought them back to Earth. I cannot even believe that we had Americans in space that we were just like, hope you guys make it. I mean, I really need to go down the rabbit hole on that because I don't understand what happened there or why they're even there. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments. But what I want to talk about is the fact that the female astronaut came back and the comments that everybody was saying was, look how gray her hair is. Okay. If you got stuck in space, would your hair not be gray too? My head would be completely white if I was stuck in space. Quite frankly, if I ever even had to go to space. I find two things very frightening. The idea of going in space and being lost in space, and the idea of being on a raft in the middle of the ocean. I don't want any big spaces that are going to swallow me up. Well, she comes back and has gray hair and everyone is like, what happened? And then we're getting all this like, well, you know, anti-gravity makes your hair go gray. And it's like, or getting stuck in space makes your hair grow gray, or not being able to go to your colorist also is a bit of an interference on the non-gray game. What in the world? Why are we asking about her hair? How about, are you okay? We're so glad you're back. Instead of, you got some gray hair there, girl. No, she's got some gray hair. She was stuck in space, you monsters. How can someone come back and that's the first thing you ask? Stuck in space, couldn't go to the salon. Got any more questions? I mean, what in the world? How do you ask a person that question? How do you even act surprised? Why is there even a why when it comes to gray hair? I think we know why. Again, stuck in space. My final comment, before we see our little heartwarming video to leave us off on a good note, is that I saw this video of Jessica Alba, and I always knew that she was kind of nuts because, well, she's from Hollywood. And, you know, she had that honest company that was all about making diapers and this, that, and the other because it was all about making sure that you weren't putting junk on your kids. And that's not crazy, but just her life philosophy felt to me like it was always tilting towards the extreme. And she's arrived and seems to be the reigning queen of extreme. We see her at the Paris fashion show that was riddled with all kinds of confusing moments, but this moment really confused me because the interviewer is talking to her and she says that she has special buttons on her coat. What's so special about them? Oh, they just have a vagina on them. And she's like, just a little detail, don't worry about it. You brought it up, so now I have to worry about it. And
my button is a vagina.
Oh.
Little detail, don't worry about it.
That is definitely a detail.
Isn't that cool?
That is great.
Yeah, so it's like celebrating the feminine. And it's like Year of the Snake, and there's something about that Kundalini rising. She's very like kind of spiritual, so I love all that.
Yeah. What is this fresh hell that you've exposed us to? Why do you as a woman have to say that embracing your femininity means that you're going to put your private parts on the buttons of your coat? Is that all that a woman is to you? Then she goes off onto this, into these realms of crazy, referring to the vagina as she and saying that it's this like big moment where the Kundalini is rising. And I'm like, why do we not talk about the satanic snake that's living in your spine or whatever it is you're referring to? Because I feel like something is deeply wrong with a person who says that to place private body parts on the buttons of your coat somehow signifies your embracing and your support of womanhood. Jessica Alba's attempt to create a moment in which she supports women by putting a vagina on her buttons is just one of the stupidest things I've ever seen come out of Hollywood. And there's just so many crazy things rapidly coming at us from Hollywood that are so dumb that for her to sit on top of all the stupidity is really saying something. But she is the reigning queen of ridiculous today. All right, our final video that was just heartwarming, and I feel like we need to leave it on a positive note after the vagina buttons, was Carrie Underwood. And she had this really heartwarming moment with Randy Travis, who, if you'll recall, way back in the day, invited her on stage at the Grand Ole Opry, and here she is singing to him and bringing him in, and it was just like the standing ovation moment. And I just thought it was a really beautiful moment in where, the community was just uplifting him, and it was just, I loved the way she made the moment about him and not her. It was just really, really sweet. All right, I hope that made you guys feel better. I hope that sort of was a palate cleanser from the Jessica Alba story. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this Friday. I will see you guys later this week for our new book. I think you guys are going to love it. I am so excited about it. And I will see you obviously again for the Friday News Roundup. Thank you guys for those of you who hung in with me this week. Reviewing the Meghan Markle show. I did see some of your comments wanting to go back to books. That's always been the plan. It's just that when things like the Meghan Markle show come up, I've always made it a habit of reviewing certain programs and shows that I thought sort of tied in with books we've read. So thank you guys for hanging in with me, and we'll be doing books again next week. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.